So you guys want to know something really funny? Before I start filming these videos and things like that, I actually jump up and down to get myself in a good state, and I've decided that I'm going to stand for my videos because it's going to give me more energy. So what I recommend is if you do presentations and things like that, I'd recommend bouncing up and down a little bit. It actually helps. Anyway, today I'm going to be talking to you about how to do what you actually say you're going to do, right? And how often do we hear people say, oh, I'm going to quit my job? Or I'm going to go on a diet. Actually, another funny thing. Diets. Do you know what diet actually is? It's die, D-I-E, and then a T. Diet. Who wants to go on a diet? No one wants to die. A diet. No one wants to diet. What I recommend instead, if you're thinking about going on a diet, is perhaps say, I'm going on a lifestyle change. I said it to one of my mentees the other day, and she was like, oh, I don't want to go on a diet, but a lifestyle change sounds cool. Anyway, how do we do these things, right? What is it that we can actually change about ourselves to actually do the things that we say we're going to do, but then sometimes we feel that we don't do them? Well, let's start with an analogy. So I want you to imagine that there's 5 green frogs sitting on a log, okay? And they're sitting on this log, and 3 of them decide to jump off. How many frogs are left on the log? Thinking. 2. Not really. There's 5. Why do I say this? Because 3 decided to jump off. So I can decide to do something. It's not going to change until I do it. Making a decision is one thing, but doing it is something completely different. I've decided I'm going to quit my job. Why didn't you? Oh, I just didn't feel like it. Decisions have to be followed by an action in order for the doing to start taking place, right? Often people say a lot of things, but they don't do much. So we've got to be able to create that follow through with the doing. So let's use a few more examples to understand why this is the case. Let's start with the diet or the lifestyle change, however you would like to put it. So someone comes to me and they say, Ben, I really want to go on a diet. Okay, have you tried this before? Many times. Okay, right. So now we can already see there's the pattern. If you're watching this, maybe you're in the same pattern. And I start talking to them and I say, okay, well, you know what's going on. And, oh, it's great. But then I see a chocolate cake and I just melt and I get so excited because it tastes so good. And then I just can't help myself and I just eat the whole cake. And I see them and I can see that they're smiling. They're so excited. And they're like, yeah, and then, you know, sometimes I have broccoli and I have greens, but it's the chocolate cake that makes me, you know, I just got this thing for chocolate cake. So what is going on here? Well, let's look at it from the pain and pleasure perspective. You could see by their face, the broccoli, they go like this, broccoli. They don't want to eat broccoli because they associate pain and they just dislike broccoli. Now, chocolate cake is something completely different. They get excited, it tastes good, oh, it's so yummy, oh, but I feel bad after, but it tastes so good at the time. Ultimately, they have linked pain and pleasure to different things. Now, you will move towards pleasure and away from pain. But the thing is they also don't want to be fat. So there's this internal conflict. Now, when motivation is very high, she can say, no, I'm not going to eat the cake, I'm not going to eat the cake, I'm going to eat the broccoli, I'm going to eat the broccoli, I'm going to eat the broccoli. However, through time, even if she gets slimmer, she'll let herself go a bit and then she'll go back to the chocolate cake because she has still associated pleasure to the chocolate cake, if that makes sense. So we have to change what we link pain and pleasure to in order to start doing the things that we want to do. Because ultimately, if you are where you are at the moment and you're not changing, it's because these pain and pleasures are playing a different role than you need them to play in order for you to feel integrated and move forward. Right? It's one of the things that the Fulfillment Artist Intensive that I teach is that we've got to create an integration in order for you to move forward. Because otherwise you're going to create these internal conflicts. You've got to be able to integrate yourself and align yourself so that everything's working for you instead of things working against you. Let's use another example. Let's say I want to get into a relationship, but I'm scared. Right? I hear this all the time. People say, oh, I really want to get into a relationship, but I'm just scared. I don't want to get hurt and I really, really want a relationship. I do. I'd love to have a partner who would be amazing. But, and they use this word, they go, but I just feel that it won't be, what happens if they cheat on me? Right? It's not going to be great. What happens if they leave me? What happens if they leave me? If I give everything to them and then they leave me, how could they? How dare they? And you can start seeing this person getting angry. They get sad, they get angry, and they go through these stages when they talk about a relationship. What's happened again? This person has related pain to getting back into a relationship and pleasure to staying away from one. So they would prefer, even though it hurts, to be lonely by themselves because they associate much less pain. Even though it's a little bit painful, there's much less pain here than there would be to go into a relationship and risk being hurt as badly as they were hurt before. Once again, we can see that the pain and pleasure are playing different roles here. So we have to switch what this person links pain and pleasure to in order for them to be able to move in a different direction. So let's do one more. Let's say someone is looking to quit their job and start a business. Okay, so a lot of entrepreneurs, come to me and they may be well into their entrepreneurship and they've got multiple businesses, or some people are just getting started. And ultimately, for the people just getting started, they often have that fear of, I want to quit my job, but I'm not sure what the future's going to hold. I'm just feeling a little bit worried about it. What happens if I can't pay rent? I can't buy a house. I won't find a wife. And often these are the sort of conversations that I have, especially with Chinese people. So how do we switch this? Well, let's think about this. This person is thinking, there's a lot of variety if I quit my job, right? There's so many uncertainties. It's going to be crazy. Ones if I can't pay rent, like what do? Do I just go back home? I've got no security. And then, not only that, they know that, okay, well, if I stay at my job, I know where I'm going, it's very secure, I can move it forward however I like, and it's very stable. Why would they give that up when they've got the pleasure there for something that's completely different to them? We've got to think about this. We've got to be able to create that switch. So once again, you're probably thinking at this point, well, Ben, that's all good and well saying this. I understand the pleasure and pain, but how do you switch it? How do you change those associations? So I'm going to give you a tool now, which is going to help you scratch the CD. What I mean by this is you've probably got a CD playing in your unconscious of certain things are painful, certain things are pleasurable. So what we want to do is we want to change this CD, scratch it up a bit, and switch what happens so that you can start moving forward. So the tool that I'm going to give you today is called a negative anchor. Okay? A negative anchor is something that you use when you don't want to do something. Does that make sense? So for example, when I first started to go on a diet, and I was definitely the person that loves chocolate cake, right? Like indulged. And ice cream. Ice cream, yeah, it's just, yeah, I love ice cream. Okay. Now, previously, I just could not have any sense of control because I was like, it's there, it makes me feel so good, it's amazing. Now, how do I change this? Well, first of all, we need to understand what does that actually do to us? And you start to understand the pain that it does to you, and you get leverage on yourself. Well, this food actually damages my body. It makes me fatter, it makes me weaker. It actually puts me in a bad mood. I get aches, it's annoying. And then as you're in this state, you're going to create something called a negative anchor. So I'll give you an example where you're going to put these two together. Okay, so it's going to be your thumb and your middle finger. Something that you may not do that often if you do meditation and you use these fingers for certain things. Perhaps use a different anchor. Maybe it's putting your thumb there, whatever it is. We're going to link some sort of movement in your body to the negative association. So let's say I'm thinking of all those things and I'm like this, and it just turns me, oh, it makes me feel horrible. Now what you do is you do that a couple of times. You think, okay, well, what's the worst thing that's going to happen if I keep doing this? Well, I'll get fat, I'll get diabetes, I could die, I could never see my family grow up. And you do it again when it's really intense and you do the same anchor. Now, hopefully, whilst you're watching this, I want you to start practicing. Okay, because if you can start practicing here, it's going to help you with regards to shifting whatever it is that you want to be able to shift. So pick something, whatever it is, and now I want you to think about, okay, what was going to be the worst thing? What are some of the worst things that could happen if you carry on linking pleasure to this? What's going to happen? Well, maybe it's that You're going to stay stuck, be comfortable, and not live the life of your dreams. You're going to slowly deteriorate. Your body's going to break down. Whatever it is for you, and when it's really intense, do that negative anchor. Now, once you've conditioned that a few times, and you do it over and over again, and just think about it, that's going to be a negative anchor now. So, how do you use it? Let's say you are going to a place. Let's just use food because it's an easy example, but I'll use some others as well. Let's say you see a piece of chocolate cake on the menu. You're there and you're like, and the first reaction is, oh. And then you do the negative anchor and you think of all the horrible things. Like, okay, no, I do not want that chocolate. Fuck, I do not want that. And that can help create the switch. Okay? So that is an incredibly cool tool. But you've got to remember to use it. That's the most important thing. Especially when you're tired and your willpower's low. That's when it's going to be very important to use. So, I hope that you've enjoyed this video and this can help you to start to do some of the things that you want to do. Ultimately, we're switching what we link pain and pleasure to. Now, just on the pleasure side of things, just quickly. If we want to be able to link pleasure to other things, we want to think, what does it actually do for me? Right? How can I really link pleasure with this? And then you just associate that. Right? So when you think of broccoli, instead of thinking, oh, it tastes bad, you think, that is going to make my body so healthy. It's going to give me so much energy. I'm going to be able to do so much more with my life while doing that. Starting a business or creating a new product. When I do that, it's going to expand my repertoire. I'm going to be able to do new things. I can create more of a revenue. I can impact more people. That's going to be amazing. So having these skills to be able to switch those associations is going to be incredibly powerful for you to start taking that control and actually do what you want to do in your life. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. Start to do what you want to do, switch these associations, play around with it, schedule a time to perhaps do these sorts of exercises because it's incredibly powerful. And with that said, I'll speak to you very soon.